I'm Bob Baker with Jazz Guitar Today, and we're here with Dave Stryker. Hey, Dave, how you doing, man?
Hey Bob, good to see you, man. How's things?
They're doing fine, actually.
Yeah,
Can't complain. So you got some excitement going on. You got a new record out, or as we are, I believe, with John Patitucci and Brian Blade,
yes.
Julian
And
Shore.
yeah, it's my latest record. I'm really proud of it. It's something different for me. I always wanted to do something with strings, with all the gigs, kind of getting canceled, tours getting canceled, festivals getting canceled. I wanted to do something to keep me sane, keep, the music going. So in 2021, towards the end of 2020, I contacted Julian Shore. He was a student of mine when he was 14 at Litchfield Jazz Camp,
Oh, wow.
and then he eventually became on the faculty there as he grew up, and so I've known him for years. And 20 years later, after that I called him up and said, hey, I'd heard some of his records where he had done some things with strings. And I said, I've always wanted to do a string project. Would you want to collaborate on this? And he said, sure. So we started working on it, and we started by sending each other things that we liked, with strings, and I sent him some things I liked, and he thought that a string quartet would be the way to go on this. And so basically, I wrote a bunch of new music, and as I wrote each tune, I would send it to him, and I say, do whatever you want with it, please, just go. And man, he really came up with some beautiful stuff, and made the songs so much more cool, and he's a really talented guy and great pianist too. And as we were working on it through 2021, the beginning there and the end of 2020, I thought, man, this is going to really be. I was hearing some of the demos he was doing. I said, why don't I just get the baddest cats I can for this? So I called John, who I knew, and said, do you think Brian would do it? And he said, well, I'll ask him. And then he did, and Brian was into it. So in June, we went in the studio and recorded it.
Go
Should
ahead.
also mention Sarah Caswell, a friend of mine, who's a great violinist and also jazz and classical. I asked her to put the string quartet together.
Did the strings record in the same studio with you, or was this remote after the fact? Or
First off, would be, since I had such a killing band with John and Brian Blade,
right?
I wanted to go in and just record the quartet and let us do our thing and get that interaction, and not have we got to stop the take because something went
Right.
wrong with the string. That was one thing. Number two was the studio wasn't big enough to do that I record at, and also this whole pandemic thing with the masks and everything, I wanted to avoid doing that. Of course, we were all vaccinated and all that kind of stuff, but it felt better to not have so many people in a small space at that point in time. When we recorded the quartet, we were all kind of in our own room anyway, looking at each other, but except for Julie and I were in the same big room. So yeah, but I guess the main reason was the end result musically would be better this way. We recorded the quartet in one afternoon, one or two takes at the most. We had a rehearsal the night before at John's with Brian when Brian flew in. He lives in Lafayette, Louisiana. A week later, we had 2 days in the studio with the strings. And
Well,
also, I should mention, that Sarah played a couple solos on the record, so she came the first week so that she could, be there with the band when she did her solos, and came out really great. What's I think is special about this is that the string quartet is really integrated into the music. not. It sounds like it's because of the way Julian orchestrated it, and he, demoed it out with
Right.
his synths and stuff ahead of
Right.
time. We knew exactly what it was going to sound like, and so it's really special in that way. And also, hasn't been a lot of these kind of projects with guitar as the lead voice in this kind of music.
It's really nice. I was in a conversation with a guy I know that Fareed Haq, a couple months ago, and we were talking about, or he was actually talking about how, it doesn't seem like guitar players are pushing the music forward. And this is definitely you pushing the music forward. If you know, if you know what I'm saying, it's anyway. So that's really, really cool. I mean, this was just something that you decided you just wanted to do, and just,
Yeah. I'd always had a dream to do something with strings, and I thought this is the time to do it.
a question I've been asking people lately, and it sounds to me like you kind of answered it, is that if you had all the money in the world, what project would you do? What would you do? And what's really interesting is that a lot of the guys, and girls, women say the same thing. They say, I'd like to do something with an orchestra. I'd like to do something with string. I'd like, and so it's interesting that I think that, I think you're doing something that not only that you want to do, but a lot of people would love to have done.
Yeah, I feel really fortunate and grateful to have done it. Yeah, it's just a big orchestra. That's a whole other thing. I mean, if you've listened to Pat's record, not the most recent one, but the one previous to that,
Mm-hmm.
he used the L.A. Phil, I think, and that's if you haven't heard that record, it's just so good. It's escaping me at the moment the name.
Yeah, I have heard some of that record, and it's yeah.
And anyway, that's a really cool thing to do, but it just I couldn't afford to do that. So I think with the string quartet, there's a beauty in the string quartet as well. I got there that way, but it's amazing. I mean, I also got to do a project that I had done in 2019. Oh, by the way, the Pat record's called From This Place.
Okay.
Yeah, I had done a record in March of 2019 where I got to go over to Cologne, Germany for a week with the WDR Big Band, and arranged by my friend Bob Mintzer, and put that out. As that was also a real thrill. So I've been really lucky lately. I mean, Bob just killed it. We did one of his tunes, a few of mine, and then some of my arrangements of the 8-track stuff that I do. He thought that would be a good fit with the for a project with the WDR Big Band. So yeah, we did a couple gigs. That's a full-time or on-staff orchestra, big band, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
with just great players, and they just record everything. They it's in a huge studio, and they record every rehearsal, and so we were able to make a nice record with that. And when you're playing as a guitar player and you hear those backgrounds come in, it's just incredible, the feeling. And same thing with this string project. When I heard some of the demos that Julian came up with, I was sitting down here, and I would put it on and bring my wife down. I swear I was like getting tears, man. It was just so beautiful to hear that. So it's in these times of crazy times we're in, it's music can still be a positive force, I think, and we need music more than ever, I think.
Always a positive force.
Yes.
What kinds of special considerations were you thinking about while you're actually in the compositional mode? In other words, if you were, was it you were leaving space for this, or were you thinking integrated lines, or can you walk us through a little bit of what your thought process was while you were composing?
I had one ballad already done, and I had one other song that I had already written that
Hmm.
we had recorded with my organ trio, believe it or not, on a project that might come out at someday. And so the ballad was pretty, that I knew that theme of the ballad would be. I told Julian, I said, I really like you to write a nice intro to this.
Right.
And so that was one of the first things he sent me, and it was really amazing. And the other ones, when I do a record and I'm writing music, I just think of different moods and feels that might go together. This record really almost fits together like a story, like it all makes sense one song to the next. I would just demo out, my ideas very rough with my looper pedal. I put down a bass line, and then I'd play. I'd add a guitar part to it, and then I would just stick my phone. So it's really low tech.
Sure.
I just put my phone there, and I'd hit record, and I'd play along, play the melody, and shoot that off to Julian, and say, do something with this. And he really, he made some of the songs, really expanded them. And when you hear it, you'll see what I mean. But I did kind of hit some different compositional places that I'd never gone before. And, I think music, by listening to other people, you can be inspired. I love a lot of Kurt Rosenwinkel's stuff. That he
Hmm.
is. I think he's such a great songwriter. Also, Lajee Lund, some of the things he's doing. So, by listening to different things, you can become inspired to come out of your comfort zone or whatever. And I went back and listened to some of my favorite, Brazilian music like Elis Regina, and there's some string writing on there, and the Shirley Horn, a couple records that just knocked me out were The Art of Song, Charlie Hayden, that she sings The Folks Who Live on the Hill. Of course, those are big orchestras, but I was thinking big. But and also Here's to Life, and that was arranged by Johnny Mandel. So listening to those things, there's a Keith Jarrett record that's maybe not one of his more well-known ones, called Expectations. It was a double LP that had some string writing on it that always resonated to me. So just listening to music and different things, and sometimes that will give you inspiration to write something different. So I have some music on this record that's different, a lot different than anything I did. But I did. There's one piece called "Dreams Are Real." I could hear what the strings might do on this, but I didn't really say anything. I didn't need to say anything to Julian. When he heard it, he was just, he loved that one. And I remember when we recorded it, the string quartet was really like gas too. They were just grooving in the studio, playing through that piece. And then there's the last piece on the record is kind of a bluesy thing that I came up with that Julian put some strings on it. It was nice. So it's got an arc. The record, it's got it takes you on a journey. It's got a lot of layers. My favorite records are like that. The kind of records that we'll listen to more than once. I mean, we all have records that you hear them and they're great, but the ones that I like are it's all about the compositions, the
Sure.
songwriting, the melodies, and that's why all those people I mentioned, I really like what they're doing.
I'm trying not to laugh at the kind of record you want to listen to more than once, because unfortunately there's a lot of records out there that I've only listened to once, and there are records out there that I've listened to a million times and
Yeah,
never get tired of them.
I hope that this is one that has enough layers that I think it is, that
Well,
you can listen to it all.
I'm very excited to hear it. I really am. I mean, are there any solos? Do the string players, besides the violinist, take some solos, right?
Yeah, Sarah Caswell was put the string quartet together, so
Okay.
she solos on a couple pieces. We did a one cover of Nick Drake's tune "Riverman," and she solos on that, and then she solos on the last tune called Soul Friend. That's kind of a bluesy thing. She's great, so it was that's a little unusual too, because usually if you have a string quartet, they're just playing their parts. You don't
Right.
but all of the people in the string quartet are jazz players as well.
So cello, viola, 2 violins, or what is
Yes.
the what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Wow. I'm jazzed for you, and I can see that you're kind of a reserved guy, Dave. So, but I can see the excitement in the back of your eyes. I know you're excited about this.
Yeah.
I know
Well, I
that
was
you
actually
are.
doing somersaults before we got on, but
You were, well, I can see
yeah,
that. Do you have any video of that? We got any TikTok of you doing the somersault?
you don't want to see that. It'd be,
So did you use the 347? Is that what you were playing, or
yeah,
what?
that's kind of my main guitar for the last 30 years. I have other guitars I play. I have a couple Benedettos that are, Benedetto Bravo, and a bunch of old Gibsons, and
Yeah, you gotta pile them. Pick one of those babies up and hit a lick for us. Look at that. P90 and all. With someone new. I love the dryness of that guitar. You can just hear the dryness of it,
Yeah, this is I call this my pandemic guitar. This is a 125 Gibson 1956. And I got it right before all this shit started. Excuse my language. All this started.
No, we speak fluid shit around here. We understand.
Yeah. So all through that, the pandemic in 2020, I made myself once a week play a solo piece, and I recorded it because I have an online school at Artist Works. I would make myself just do a solo piece every week, and then I was putting it up on social media just to, when we were all sitting around at home. That was I did them all on that guitar. Just I don't know why. Just because I love it. You're right. It sounds really. It's got that P90.
It's got that old P90, that very dry.
This is a 73, the 175.
175, yeah.
First jazz guitar I ever had was a 175.
They got a thing.
I wanted to get one back.
175s have got a thing. They have got a thing. Look at that. There it is.
47.
That's the one. There it is.
And this is the one that I've been playing for so long that it's got a lot of mojo on it. And the Benedettos are in the other room. I don't, it's with my furnace down here. I got to be careful with my guitars, so they're different places in the house.
Try to keep these things kind of short and sweet and get the message out. And we're talking about, so the name of the record again, Dave?
As We Are.
As We Are. And the musicians that are on it are?
Julian Shore on piano, who also arranged the string quartet. John Patitucci on bass, Brian Blade on drums, and Benny von Gutzeit on viola, Marika Hughes on cello, and Monica Davis on violin, all led by Sarah Caswell on violin.
Man, I can't wait to hear it. I'm serious. I really can't wait to hear it. It sounds really exciting. And it's always great to see you, man. And, I wish you a lot of luck with this project and everything else. Oh, by the way, you were out in Tucson not long ago. Yeah,
my mom lives down there, and I did the Tucson Jazz Festival a couple weeks ago.
Well, listen, man, it's so good to see you. And I'm real excited about this new project. I really am. I think it's great.
Well, thanks for all you're doing too, Bob, just to keep, like we said, man, music is a positive force. So what you're doing with your magazine and your podcasts and stuff is great. I'm happy to be asked to be on it. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, when people say that, I got to mention Joe Perry,
of course,
and Raul and Valerie Amador, who are my partners in all of this. And I'm just a guy who talks to people. They're the people that really do all the work.
And not the Joe Aerosmith Perry either.
Not the Joe Aerosmith Perry. No. But I mean, they're the reason we look so good is because of the work and effort that they put in. And
right.
Anyway, listen, thank you so much. Great seeing you, Dave.
All right.
Congratulations on the new project. So this is Bob Baker for Jazz Guitar Today with Dave Stryker. See you later, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.